I think there we go. Oh no. Hello and welcome to the science fiction double feature podcast, Australian Reviews number 2, the podcast that hates it when they put our palmy on top of our chips. Jeez. Yes, we're going to review an Australian film. We normally talk about movies. Specifically going to talk about Australian film today. What are we talking today? We are talking about In Fright, which is also known as Outback, which is an Australian thriller from 1971, directed by Ted Kochev, starring Gary Bond, Chips Rafferty, the last appearance of the great Australian actor Chips Rafferty. Jack Thompson is in it, and Donald Pleasance, who you may know as that one guy from The Great Escape or Blofeld in the Bond films. So Wake and Fright is about a teacher, an English teacher, a British teacher, not a teacher of English, in a small town called Toowoomba, and he's going back to the city to meet his girlfriend and have a holiday in Sydney, and he kind of ends up planning to spend the night in a town called Bundan Yabba. The Yabba. It's if you've ever been to Broken Hill, it's like Broken Hill because it's filmed in Broken Hill, and it looks a lot like Broken Hill. He goes out to get a beer, and things kind of spiral out of control, and he's drawn into this ridiculous world and sort of terrifying world of Australia. I think it's billed as a horror on Ozflix. Is this the case? Like, is it actually billed as a horror movie, or is it just a thriller?
I'll have a quick look. By the way, I'm here. Hi, I'm Terry. I didn't get introduced.
Terry. Yeah, I forgot. I just thought I'd talk over you. Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm back in the Outback studio at the moment. By Outback, I mean out the back of my house.
Yes, is it in? Yes. Are you in that little? No, you're not. Are you in the little shed, or are you in the garage?
I'm in the garage, not in the little garden shed. No.
Oh, okay, you should go in there.
Wake in Fright is not as a horror; it's a drama thriller on Ozflix.
On Ozflix. Yes, it's not, but yeah, it's a thriller. It is kind of about this guy who's drawn into what.
It is quite horrific.
At times, it is. It's kind of amazing. I really like this because it's that Australian larrikinism and masculinity that you see in every other Australian film. If you've seen Crocodile Dundee, it's that. Oh my god! But played as
upped. It's ramped up.
It is. It's exaggerated for the sake of it. It's also kind of just it is exaggerated. I thought this was fantastic. I love this idea of someone being drawn into what just looks like normal society, and it kind of destroys him and disorients him, and it's amazing. I thought this was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was too. I love it's a really slow burn. I thought there's a bit there it really drags, not drags, but it slows right down. But there is so much still going on and so much happening. I really like how he goes to this town, Yabba, or what was it? Something in Yabba.
Bundan Yabba.
Bundan Yabba, the Yabba, and at the start you kind of get the sense that he feels like he's above all these people because he's from the city and he's got the higher education and that, and you just feel like he's a bit higher on himself and a bit better than all these other yokels out here in the sticks. And it goes on, and he meets some really friendly people in the Yabba, and they buy him drinks and show him how to play 2-Up, and he's having a great time. And it does just spiral out of control. He loses his money on 2-Up, and then he just goes down the rabbit hole of the Yabba. And he finds that he's no better than the rest of the people there at all. He's exactly the same. He turned into one of their drunken larrikins.
Fighting, wrestling, American men.
It's really, really cool, and I love that the first opening shot, and you get a big landscape shot of nothing, of the desert, of the outback. There is nothing there, and it does a complete 360 and you see 2 buildings in the whole 360. I love that. I love how it sets up that whole thing. Like, he's in the middle of nowhere. He's got nowhere to go. There's nothing else there to do except drink and have a good time with a couple of locals. And yeah, it gets really, really dark. And I really enjoyed it. I think it's really well made.
Yeah, it's who directed this? Ted Kochev, who is a Canadian Bulgarian director, so not an Australian director. Yeah, Bulgarian Canadian director who made SVU, amongst other things. It's based on a Kenneth Cook novel. Kenneth Cook is an Australian writer. It's interesting to see whether this is from sort of coming from within Australia. It's certainly filmed here. I mean, it's got so many Australian actors, or whether it's from the outside looking in. It seems to be. It's very like, and because that's the view we have. Gary Bond is an English, a very John. What's his name? John something. John Grant. John Grant. It's a very English character. He's kind of, but he is the viewpoint character in the sense that he's from outside. But yeah, I don't think this isn't so much the case of other people from other country, like a production from another country playing Australia as the premise of a terrible thriller, a horrifying thriller. It's from an Australian perspective, and it's for that reason it's really, really interesting as a film. This view of Australia and of everything that happens here, and I guess the iconic Australian, the iconic aspects of Australia, the larrikinism, the drinking, the fighting. Well, not so much the fighting, but all the what would you call it? All the playing, the playing that people do. It's a really interesting take on it is the antidote to every other Australian film you've ever seen and found a bit tedious. It's fantastic. I really like this. I think the performances are good as well. I think Donald Pleasance does a good Australian accent. I thought that was worth noting.
Yeah, he was really. He gave you chills in some moments, just with some of the lengths he went to and stuff. And I love how there was the woman in somebody's wife. He ended up at somebody's house for a party, and the wife there just seemed to be like the town bicycle. Like, everyone's spoken about how they've given her a go and all this. And John went out to give her one as well, but was a bit too drunk for it.
Okay. Jeanette Haynes. That's the daughter, though, I think, of that guy.
Oh, was it the daughter? I thought it was the wife.
The daughter.
Oh.
No, it's the daughter.
Oh, okay.
That's played really, really well as well, I think, because it's an it's a really good performance from Sylvia Kay here. It's a bit more, it's a bit more complex than the way you put it, I think, because she's very much played as this person who's trapped in the yapper. We get Donald Pleasance's explanation of her. We don't see that much of her herself, although what we do see is a really good performance, as I said. But she is played as someone who doesn't really fit in here, but still sort of, I guess, lives her life as she can. And Donald Pleasance's Doc Tyden, an alcoholic doctor who's somehow ended up here because it's the only place he can find work, sort of describes her as a like-minded person in terms of how they live their lives. It's interesting. Yeah, she's an interesting character. I think, and it's a really, there's a lot of screen presence from Sylvia Kay here. I think it's really great.
The thing that really shocked me when I was watching it is the kangaroo hunting scene.
Yeah. And you noticed the thing at the end?
Yeah, but I was onto it before they put that up. We'll get to that in a minute. Because I was watching it, and I grew up on a farm. I've seen my fair share of killings of animals, of shootings and stuff, and huntings. And I was watching this going, this looks incredibly real. This looks too real for 1970s to be trying to like for practical effects or for any other form of trick of the eye sort of stuff. I'm looking at going, this looks extremely real. I wonder if it actually was a real hunt. And they do put up at the end that they went on a hunt and got these shots of the kangaroos actually being shot and hunted. And I found a bit more into it. Like in 2000, I think it was 12. Kochev did a press release, or he was talking about an interview or something, and he said that no kangaroo was injured or killed for my film Waking Fright. Technically, that's true because
Yeah, it seems like
they
they
went on an
followed.
organized hunt. The hunt was happening whether the cameras were there or not. That was already happening. So they were more like kind of like documentarians on that sort of thing. And there was another bit that said, he said, I did not use 75% of what we filmed that night because it was too bloody and horrifying. And apparently, like, the crew faked a electrical outage and
To get out of it. Or...
to get out of it. They said the spotlight's out, and because apparently these hunters, they were playing the part for the first part of it, but then the whiskey started flowing and it just got out of hand.
Okay.
So yeah, they killed the light and said, "Oh well, hunt's over. 2 a.m. Hunt's over. Let's go home." So yeah, that was really interesting. And yeah, I was very shocked by it because I'm like, this looks like a very real hunt. These look like kangaroos that are being shot, and I think watching it now would have more an effect on people seeing it for the first time now than what it would have in the 70s for animal rights and stuff. But my God, is it shocking, and it really captures the whole essence of this movie, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of the climax. I guess it's when John Grant reaches his nadir at this point when he's taking part in this.
And he starts beating up the kangaroo, having a fight with it.
Yeah. Although coincidentally, I mean, Kochev has stated that the credits do list a boxing kangaroo. So I think while some of it is definitely that hunt, some of it was staged with a live animal. Oh yeah. Oh dear. Anyway,
but yeah, he slips. He slips hard after that. And all he wants to do is get out of the yabba, and the poor fella just ends right back up there. You feel a bit sorry for him when he's trying to hitchhike to the city and ends right back at the yabba.
Yeah, I found the ending a little absurd. Like, maybe it's just because we know he's sort of like he's been stripped of all his humanity at that point, and after that, it's kind of just going through the motions and waiting for something to happen, for it to reach, a conclusion in terms of story. So I found the ending I dragged on a little there, just because I sort of thought we had the movie had made its statement, and John Grant had gone through all that he needed to work as a character, and from then it was just working towards a conclusion so that something could happen before the credits would roll. But apart from that, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. It's interesting as well. Just this is filmed in the same part of the world as Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, as you may know it. So it's in Broken Hill and Silverton. I've been to both of those places. So yeah, and it's got that same kind of brutal outback look that Mad Max has, and it works really, really well here. It's fantastic.
I love I actually did enjoy the ending. I don't know how much. I think I've already spoiled half the movie anyway. If I should keep talking or not, because I think he comes out of it. Well, as you said, he's stripped of his humanity. He's stripped right back to his bare bones, more or less. And I think he go back to his teaching job as a better person, and maybe not up on his high horse as what he originally started. I think he'd continue on with a bit more clarity of these people and that he's not better than them. So I like the ending for that reason.
I don't know. It was, it's interesting, I guess. He'd never, I guess it does leave this lingering question of whether he'll ever get out of that part of the world. Because he gives up on going to Sydney and just goes back to his old job. Presumably his girlfriend's still waiting for him to this very day.
Yeah, on
I
the
don't know.
beach.
Yeah, I don't. It's interesting.
I do like the poster that is up on IMDb for it. It's got a quote from Martin Scorsese. It said, "It left me speechless." Now, that's really not a positive or a negative. It could be taken both ways. He could be that shocked and discouraged by it that he's speechless, or he was quite impressed and speechless. I love how they chose to put that on the poster.
It's
Very
yeah, I don't
ambiguous.
know. Maybe he hates it to this very day, and he doesn't know how to explain it at all. I like the two-up scene. I thought the two-up scene was fantastic. Like
Yeah, that
it's
was
a
really
beautifully
cool.
filmed thing. Two-up, if you don't know, is a game that Australians. It has this connection with Anzac Day because it was played by soldiers at Gallipoli, I think, wherein you put 2 pennies on a piece of wood and you flip it up in the air and you have to call when they get heads or tails. And they play this throughout at one point in the movie. And it is this kind of amazingly shot scene of chaos and it's just fantastic. It's a fantastic scene of
And
such
honesty. I love the
how
honesty
so?
in it. Well, when he puts his first bet on, the guy takes his money across the room, and
Oh
then
yeah,
the coins flip up, and he gets pushed to the back, and he's like, "Oh well, I've lost my money. Oh well, I'll
and then
just
he
go,"
goes,
because he actually did win. He won the toss, but he got pushed that far back from all the other people in there. He was like, "Oh well, I've lost it," and the guys come up, "Hey, where's that fella in the jacket? Here's your money. Good work." So I love how there's that honesty among all these. They're not thieves, but um, all these characters who don't look the most trustworthy and would think that they take any extra $10 if they just couldn't find the fella. So I love that, and I think he enjoyed. I love the people of the Yabba. They are not bad people for the most part.
mm,
For the most part,
okay. Isn't the point that they're awful? That like yes, they have those kind of standards,
yeah.
but they're still awful people.
They're not all awful.
They're mostly well, isn't the point like
The, there's 3 people who are pretty awful.
who are they?
The ones who we see, the couple of hunters and old Doc's pretty awful. But Chips Rafferty, he's a pretty nice friggin' he's a nice sheriff, or what is he in there? The police chief.
He's like the chief sergeant. Is he though? Like
He
he
takes him
starts
around.
the
He gets
descent.
him. He starts
That's
it, but he chose to fall down that rabbit hole.
okay.
He only showed him where the door was.
Okay.
He pushed him. He walked through it himself, because he had nothing else really involved in it. He didn't make any money out of it. He didn't get anything else out of it. He was just a nice guy saying, "Yeah, have another beer. I'll buy one. You buy one. Go get a steak. Here's a place." Oh, that was a great shot of Chips Rafferty, like the first pub scene, and you see like John walk through, and he's got to really try and squeeze past people to get up to the bar, and then
Yeah.
you see like
Chips Rafferty just kind of
just walk through, and the crowd parts, so he walks to the bar and back. I loved it. I thought that was so cool. Yeah, I really like this. I would recommend seeing this to anyone. Really good.
it's fantastic. It's a fantastic film. Is it? But isn't the point of like Chips Rafferty that he does kind of goad Gary Bond's character into getting drunk enough to fall down the rabbit hole because that's what you do in this part of the world because that's what is the done thing. It's several like yes he does keep drinking and it's clearly a terrible idea, but like he falls into the point where that's just the norm of life because that's what everyone else is doing. That's what happens in this town. It has its standards. Like you don't take someone's money, you have a minute's silence at the RSL, you do
Yeah,
all these things. But isn't the point that it's still like a terrible and toxic way to live? I mean, Chips Rafferty covered like this movie is from 1971. It's out there. The point isn't necessarily the way it ends. The main character tries to kill himself at the end of the movie. Chips Rafferty's character covers that up.
Mm.
He does. There's not a willingness to admit what's going on. Like he says, "Oh, we get quite a lot of suicides here," and then just as an offhand thing at the start of the film, then the
Yeah.
main character tries to kill himself. Like the point of this is that regardless of their kind of the cultural, the arbitrary cultural expectations, they're not good people, and this isn't a good place to live. Like it's treated as this horrible place, not just that John Grant has fallen into it. It's that it is a bad place to be, and it sucks you in, and it sucks you down, and it takes you to that point where it's a good idea to slaughter a kangaroo. Isn't this kind of what the movie's about?
Yes, but I'll debate you on that mainly because from Chip's perspective, is he really doing the wrong thing, or is he just offering him some friendship? This is how we live. Be part of the community, get involved,
Yes,
like
but
just
the point
being
of the movie is that
friendly.
that's awful. There's more to being like Chips Rafferty has this amazing presence in this film. Like he kind of does. He's more than friendly because he does barge his way into this guy's life, and he's like he sort of just you see him in this fantastic thing where he sticks his arm barges into the screen with this huge flame of his lighter, and he's lighting
Mm.
John Grant's cigarette, and then like constantly throughout it, like yes, he buys him drinks, but he also forces him. It's like this huge guy. He's like, "Well, drink it down. It's time for your next one." And he gets him to that point where he's drunk enough to start making those terrible decisions because that's the way you do things in that part of the world, and it's expected that you can hold your liquor, which maybe John Grant can't, but he's not really given that choice by the expectations of this little town.
I'm gonna go back to free will.
Okay,
John
so it's
John didn't
all
have
on
to.
him. Okay.
John didn't have to keep drinking. He could have walked out at any moment. But
Yes, there are points, and I think it is part of the movie where you're like, "Well, just stop drinking right now. Why are you having beer? It's 11 o'clock in the morning for you. Why are you doing this?" But he does. There are points like it does kind of go through a few cycles where you're like, "Well, this has clearly been a bad night for you," and then he keeps going, and then he keeps going, and then he keeps
yeah.
going. It does go through those cycles, but it's still he is
Mm.
so often goaded into being part of this world.
Oh, I won't dispute that. Like Chips did corral him into the 2-up game. I have no doubt about that. That was the end goal. But I can't see that. I can see that being part of. Okay, here's some money. Like, put some money into our community, even if it is an illegal 2-up game.
I don't think he's running like the local Rotary Club.
I know, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, I can't see. I don't think he expected what happened to John, what actually happened to him. I don't think he would have foresaw that far that he'd be out in the middle of the bush beating up a kangaroo in the middle of the night. Here, lose some money, get drunk, lose some money. See you, you're on your way.
We'll spend it on a new war memorial. Okay. So Chips Rafferty, like playing the uh I don't know what you'd call that. The town coffers end game. Sure, why not? All right. Is that what was that? Have we got anything further to say on the subject of Wake in Fright apart from go see it if you're good?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. See it. I was able to watch this on Ozflix, beta streaming for them. It comes online January 26th for anyone who doesn't have it. And it's not available on in New Zealand. It's geo-blocked on Ozflix in New Zealand. But Tim, where'd you find it, Tim? On
I
iTunes?
found it on iTunes, yes. So you can find it on iTunes if you can't. There's a number of things that are geo-blocked for presumably rights issues on Ozflix, but we'll find those on iTunes if we have to.
Yeah. So Yeah, very good movie.
Yes, definitely see it.
Mm.
It was, how long was this? An hour and 48. It's a bit long, but it's still good.
No, it's very good.
Okay, cool. All right. If you want to find us on the internets, we're at SFDF Movie Reviews at tumblr.com. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/SFDF Movie Reviews. We're on Twitter at SFDF Movie Review, singular. If you just want to listen to the podcast, we're at soundcloud.com/SFDF, or wherever good SoundClouds are found. You can find us on iTunes as well. Just search SFDF. And if you want to email us, especially if you can think of a good Australian film thing backronym that SFDF could be, let us know, because we got nothing. Yeah, email us at inspace.no-one-can-eat-ice-cream@gmail.com. And if you want links to all these things and other good stuff, they're all linked down the right side of the main blog, which again is sfdfmovieReviews.tumblr.com. Okay, that's about it from us. Yeah, do you want to say goodbye? I mean, you didn't say hello, so
So what's the point?
yeah, just get out.
Goodbye, Terry.
Okay, bye everybody.